Okay, now for the fun part, playing with fire. So my apologies for the background noise, because my neighbour's chosen this precise moment to start mowing his lawn. As you do. So we'll light up the 335 first. So to begin, we're going to unscrew the lock, turn and a half or so. I put a thumb over this little hole here and start pumping about 30 times. Sorry for the camera shake. Also, make sure your fuel cap is on tight. I loosened mine a little bit for storage. It's up to you. So this is just the cleaning lever. If you have a Coleman stove, the lever on the Coleman stove, unless it's a quick light, is for letting a little bit more air fuel mix into the generator, but these lanterns don't do that. I'm going to crack the valve and listen to the fuel. A hiss of gas, then we should hear fuel squirting. Yep, I can hear the fuel squirting now, and I can smell it. So without further ado, these are the longest matches I can find, the Redbird. Get them pretty cheap at Canadian Tire if you're Canadian, because we can't be trusted with real matches. These are safety matches with the white phosphor tip, mainly potassium perchlorate and binder and powdered glass with a phosphor tip that we're going to scratch on the table here. So we get the match ready, crack the valve a little bit, get a big flame on the match, and then stick it in. I'm going to open the valve all the way. Fireball. At this point I'm going to close the valve a little bit. So the Fireball was too much fuel, so we just haven't hit up the generator enough to crack the valve further. So just close the valve down and it'll start to glow. I don't know if you hear it, but it's making a hiss. The hiss will gradually increase in pitch a little bit, and that's so you tell the generator's heating up and the gas is starting to become pressurized in the font. So it looks like it's heating pretty well, heating up the generator pretty good there. The generator is head up by the heat coming off the mantle, obviously, and it's a self-fueling flame now. And at this point we could crack the valve right open. And there, it's all the way open. I can feel a considerable amount of heat coming off this, and I'm outdoors. It really is super duper hot, and an excellent piece of kit. It actually has some lighting instructions. This particular one does. It says insert lighted match, open quarter of a turn only. After mantle burns brightly, open as far as possible. You'll notice there is no pulsing. Don't light these indoors, obviously. Light them outside, then you can bring them in, but you must open a window. The general rule is that you open the window an inch for every lantern. You gotta get fresh air in when you're using any type of naked flame, other than, you know, a small amount of candles. So we're gonna put this guy aside. We're gonna let it burn for a while. I don't like turning them on and turning them off right away. So let's light up the 200. That one was the 335. .200 is exactly the same way. All these ones are. The only ones different are the quick lights, and they have a plastic valve knob on them. You'll see it. They're very different. So again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to unlock this. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. Oh, I actually did it automatically, but you close this valve. You don't have to tighten it hard, just tighten it a little bit. You're actually forcing a piece of brass into a cone. So you don't want to tighten it too much, otherwise you'll deform the brass. And don't move these around a lot when they're lit. Especially when they're lit. But don't try not to bang them, because although a brand new mantle is flexible like a piece of material, it's actually saturated in a metal salt. And the mantles, the material the mantle's made of actually burns away and leaves the salt behind in the same shape as the mantle. They actually shrink a bit, but they're very fragile. They're like dust. So don't poke them and don't bang them around. So we're going to pump this one up. Again, I'm going to put my thumb over this hole. I'm going to unlock it by turning it counterclockwise, and then I'm going to pump. I'm going to lock it. This one was already had some pressure in it, so I didn't need to do it 30 times. I'm going to open it quarter of a turn. Waited a little too long with that one. The fuel was already starting to squirt. You notice it's unstable when it's heating up. It also stinks a bit too. And there you go, the mantle is lit. You can't hear any more fuel squirting, and it's not pulsing anymore. So I'm going to leave it a little bit. Oh, blip there. Okay, and then I'm going to open the valve all the way. That one's still heating up. It also doesn't have a lot of fuel, so it's gonna do that. So that's it. When you want to shut these down, I'll shut this other guy down, the 335. Simply close the valve. You notice it takes quite a while for the mantle to stop glowing and the flame to go away, and it's going to remain hot for quite a bit after that. It's because there's fuel in the generator, and that fuel was under pressure and was changed to a gas, so there's more gas than the volume fuel, so you have to wait for that gas pressure to go down. So we just leave it to cool now. And you'll notice this guy was popping away. As I say, I don't think there's a lot of fuel in here, so. You notice the top is turning the darker color than the front. And now I'll shut this guy down. You notice this one wasn't as bright as the other one. Could be the quality of fuel. It also could be that this mantle is a little too large and wasn't being filled out. In that case, I'd put the slightly smaller one on, the red packet that I showed previously. I'd put that on, and that should clean that up. These are in the daytime. I'll give a night shot. These really are quite impressive. At night, light up the whole yard. They really are amazing. Alright, thanks for watching.